Hurricane Dorian was the first major hurricane of the 2019 Atlantic hurricane season, and boy, was it a powerful storm. At its peak, a Category 5 storm with 185-mile-per-hour sustained winds. This was the scene of Dorian from the International Space Station, and of course, we have to follow where Dorian began. It developed east of the Lesser Antilles Isles, passing through the Lesser Antilles and Barbados, bringing with it some higher surf, some rain, and some wind. All in all, not terrible for the Lesser Antilles, but then it continued a bit further to the north and west, passing awfully close to Puerto Rico and through the Virgin Islands, and that caused some windy weather to take hold here. This is the British Virgin Islands, seeing a little bit of that wind as Dorian passed on by. Unfortunately, Dorian began to strengthen as it continued to move to the north, and then it slowed down. And that kind of sealed the deal, unfortunately, for the northern Bahamas. It slowed down, it strengthened, and it sat there. A horrific worst-case scenario for the northern Bahamas Islands. You can see huge storm surge pulling on in, a very flat island, so storm surge inundation impacted almost everywhere across the Abaco Islands and Grand Bahama Island. And you can see just how slow Dorian was moving between Sunday, September 1st and Monday, September 2nd. We had 3 landfalls in the Bahamas. The first was at Elbow Key, the second was at Marsh Harbor, and the third was at the east end of Grand Bahama Island, all with Category 5, 185-mile-per-hour sustained wind speeds at the center of the storm. Again, communities here absolutely hammered for more than a day in some cases, and sadly, the slow-moving nature allowed the damage to really settle in across the northwestern Bahamas Islands. And again, a horrific scene here. Sadly, there was a big loss of life and significant damage. Many structures can't even make them out, completely devastated here. A very sad situation into Marsh Harbor and across these islands. Now again, it was a slow moving system before it turned a bit further to the north, paralleling the U.S. coast and riding up, impacting Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. Huge waves off the coast of Florida. This is near Fort Pierce. And of course, we had some storm surge concerns as well. Lots of evacuations were underway out towards coastal Georgia. Here's the scene from Tybee Island as Dorian moved on by. And those that stayed behind dealt with this. Lots of flooding, storm surge inundation impacting Garden City, South Carolina, and spin-up tornadoes. Huge tornado here along U.S. Highway 17 in Carolina Shores, North Carolina on Thursday, September 5th, and widespread damage, unfortunately, impacting many areas here. As it continued to move to the north through Friday, Dorian finally made landfall, very briefly, at the Outer Banks at Cape Hatteras at 8:35 a.m. in the morning, Friday, September 6th, with Category 1 wind speed, and it continued to pummel the North Carolina coast all day Friday. There's Cape Hatteras, 110-mile-per-hour maximum wind gusts recorded at Cedar Island, and of course, storm surge inundation was huge. Take a look at Ocracoke, North Carolina. Record storm surge along the Pamlico Sound, over 6 feet. And the highest it had been until Dorian was only around 3 feet. So catastrophic damage. It stranded people. It flooded people's homes. And again, Dorian was then finally quick to move out to sea, and it paralleled the U.S. East Coast, bringing some high surf for the Mid-Atlantic and New England states. Rough surf here off the coast of Massachusetts, and it continued to lift to the north during the weekend of September 7th and 8th, this time setting its sights on Canada, moving through Nova Scotia, causing quite a bit of concern here, ripping up the boardwalk, taking out some power, and knocking down this crane. All in all, again, Dorian was a massive hurricane impacting many countries from the Caribbean all the way up to Canada. As we continue to keep tabs on the impacts and aftermath of Hurricane Dorian, be sure to keep it tuned right here to Weather Nation. For Weather Nation, I'm meteorologist Joe Astolfi.